Hello. Well, I was gonna not post anything this week. Um, I think yesterday, before I went to work, I was I was able to catch a stream on TLC, and um, anyways, I just heard something that seems to come up again in my circles, but this time I got to hear it again on TLC, and so yes, it was on Luke Thompson's and Grail Country under a live stream. I didn't catch it live because I had worked the day before, and but anyways, um, I did put a video up last week about the stuff that I've been hearing around my community. This is similar but different because this is just basically what I heard on TLC, and I wanted to do a quick video. Yeah, outdoors today. Sorry. Quick video on what I heard, and mainly, maybe I'll just cut to the chase. This concept that I've been hearing again and again, and you probably have heard it. As a matter of fact, I think this conversation or this type of back and forth has been going on for quite some time. I think before I was even born. As a matter of fact, I think it goes back centuries. Every century, it's the same thing. So what am I talking, specifically, I guess, to give specifics, I guess the conversation was between Luke Thompson, Mark from more Nuts and Bolts, and from TGrog. And they, TGrog mentioned something about, the thing we do hear from atheists a lot, like, why should you even trust in Christianity? Why should you even trust in the Bible? Witty, yada yada. You've heard it. I've heard it. We've all heard it. And this has been going on for, I think, before I was even born. So this is not a new concept. Everybody says always trying to undo Christianity, I suppose. So because it comes up so often, and also, anyways, before I get to my point, one of the things that I heard, he mentioned something about, there's a big gap, right, between Jesus and what we end up with, right? So he mentions there's a big old gap between Jesus and sorry, I blanked on the name. I should take better notes. Give me 1 second. Do I have it anywhere around? Yes, he mentioned big gap, Christianity and Clement of Rome. Right? He's like, see, there you go. Case closed. Well, not so much. How do you know when? Well, he may or may. So let me just give him the benefit of the doubt. I took a class that I didn't know if I was going to benefit from, but I ended up benefited from. And one of them is how to find bias in the media. And I had I wanted to pass the class, so I had to do what I had to do to pass the class. So the takeaway, what I learned is there's different ways to be biased. One of the things that I see often is biases via omission, right? Something very obvious that everybody else would have been able to see, but they just conveniently omit, right? So it's a deception in a different source. So they say what they say, and yes, that was true in part, but they omit a big obvious fact. Whoops. Maybe they didn't know, maybe it's deliberate, maybe it's by design. But as far as I don't know TGrog, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. So he mentioned, all right, from Christ, Clement of Rome, big gap. See, there you go. I say not so fast. Not so fast. There's a big obvious, well, let me back up. There should be a big obvious unbroken chain of discipleship. Okay, to at least the year 200 AD. Unbroken. And I'm going to say, in my opinion, do not rely on me, do not rely on anybody. This was one of the things that I had to undo about myself, the habit of just relying on what somebody told me and took it as gospel. So do the research yourself. I guess I'm not too prepared because I was going to bring the actual books. I don't have them with me, but anyways, I'm moving on because I must move on. I have a little bit of free time, so here we go. So Christianity, it was born from Christ, right? Jesus is the Messiah, right? Because there's other people that still don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah, so you can't really call them Christian, even though they believe in God, right? The God of Jacob, right? The God of Abraham, right? We're talking about Christianity. Christianity begins with the belief that Jesus is the Messiah prophesied by, the prophets of, right? From the ancients of days, right? He gave us this prophecy about the one that's going to crush the head of the serpent. Christians believe that that's Jesus. So here we go. Begins with Jesus. Jesus' disciples, right? Most people know about the 12, right? It's Apostle John, Apostle Matthew, Apostle Peter, right? At least we know that much. Okay, so at least that chain of discipleship is intact so far, right? Jesus, disciples, the apostles, right? But something happened, right? Because we have, like, some people say, man, I wish they would have been able to write more about Jesus. Well, the reason why his ministry stopped where it stopped is because he was martyred. And yes, the Christian thought is that had to happen. So anyways, that's why, we don't hear Jesus teaching in the year 70 AD, right? Because he was crucified, came back from the dead, that kind of thing. Anyway, so Jesus, the apostles, right? So far, intact discipleship, direct, no gaps. And if you want to check out the letters of Peter, right, do so, because I'm going to tie this to the letters of Peter, to the letters of John, because it begins from the get-go. Jesus obviously is, they're trying to maybe they misinterpret the scriptures, and Jesus says, have you not read, or you say is this, but I say is that, right? So he's clarifying. In the letters of Peter to the Christians, and the letters of John, 1 John, 2 John mainly, they write this with kind of like a warning to the Christians, like, hey, just by the way, heads up, right? I'm a Christian, so I guess that applies to me. So heads up, okay, I should pay attention. What do they have to say? It is a warning, so there you are. I don't want to be deceived. They warned, I'm going to summarize, because remember, free time's a luxury. I'm going to summarize. They warned basically about this thing that's trying to undo what Christianity is. And I'm talking specifically, I'm going to ask specifically about the Gnostics. Okay. So, so what happened? How come we don't hear about the Apostle Peter in the year 80 AD? Well, because Peter was martyred for being a Christian, right? Same thing happens to all the disciples. They're martyred. Oh, I wish I had more. Yeah, I wish we had more too, but they were martyred. It's not because they were slackers. Well, we don't have more because they were slackers. No. It's not because they were slackers. It's because they were martyred. Okay? The Apostle John is different because he survives the attempted martyrship, right? The attempted killing of him because of his faith. Not because, right, let's get that at least in the clear. For their faith, specifically their Christian faith. So the Apostle John survives. And that's why he lives to old age, and I believe, I'm gonna guess here, believes he makes it to like the year 99-ish AD. So far, no line of breakage in the discipleship. Jesus and the apostles, John mainly, he makes it all the way to like 99. So far, all the way to 99. right? Who does the Apostle John disciple? Ah, right, Polycarp, the Bishop of Smyrna. He is discipled by the Apostle John. The Apostle John, and maybe even Peter. So I don't, that one I'm less sure about, but I know that one of the apostles also discipled Ignatius, the Bishop of Antioch. So here we go. So I'm going to focus mainly on Polycarp because I think Polycarp survived longer. So Jesus disciples John, the Apostle John. The Apostle John disciples Polycarp, Bishop of Smyrna. Bishop of Smyrna, just like he's also martyred, right? Because Polycarp did write to the Christians. He wrote to the letter, I think, to the Philippians, and guess what he was warning them about? You guessed it, about the Gnostics. John about the Gnostics. Peter about the Gnostics. So Polycarp, before Polycarp is martyred, he also has he knew of, we know that because there was a correspondence, so he also was in the time of Ignatius, Bishop of Antioch. I might be mispronouncing it, but he was also martyred because he also wrote, right, the writings. So Polycarp's okay. We have Jesus disciples the apostles. John survives longer, right? So the apostle John disciples Polycarp. Polycarp disciples Irenaeus, Bishop of Lyonnus. Okay, so far no broken chain of discipleship. Jesus, the apostle John to Polycarp, Bishop of Smyrna, Polycarp to Irenaeus, Bishop of Lyons. He is uncertain whether he was martyred. They seem to think they must have whatever, but he goes missing or martyred at the year 202 AD. So there you go. From the time of Jesus, direct discipleship all the way to 202 AD. Guess what? Irenaeus also wrote, you guessed it, about heresies, about against the Gnostics. So this is the stuff that's there if anybody wants, because I should have brought the books, because these people wrote, these are early church fathers. And I don't know why they get ignored. I don't know if they have to do with that they're bishops and not what they consider a pope. Because remember, Clement of Rome, they do consider him a pope, so maybe that's why, maybe they go from the apostles and then just Clement of Rome, and that's, that's that. Maybe I don't know. I don't know why everybody just ignores this unbroken chain of discipleship from the bishops, right? Polycarp, Bishop of Smyrna, I know I'm repeating myself, and then he disciples Irenaeus, Bishop of Lyonnus, unbroken chain, all the way to 202 AD. I know, I'm sounding like a broken record. And like I said, the warnings, and maybe this is, so I'm gonna transition here. Maybe this is why, why this thing never comes up, because for some reason this attack by the Gnostics that has been happening century after century after century after century after century, non-stop. Maybe the Gnostics have, conspiracy alert, in my opinion, maybe the Gnostics have infiltrated, maybe they have persuaded some. They've been trying for almost 2,000 years, right? The Apostle John was warning about beware, be careful about the Gnostics. Polycarp was saying beware about this teaching of the Gnostics. Irenaeus was saying beware about the teachings of the Gnostics, which by the way contradict actual Christianity. If you want to look into it further, you don't even have to go further than the Bible, 1st and 2nd Peter. I was also going to bring the Orthodox Bible. I was going to say this. I I do have the electronic versions, the Kindle versions of different interpret. I forget the word. The versions like NIV, New King James, New American Standard, all that stuff, right? I also have a copy, but it's a hard copy. No, I think I have both, the electronic and the physical copy of the Orthodox, the Byzantine Empire. That also gets kind of like not mentioned a lot. So I'm gonna go. So here, maybe I'll just mention, because I think this is as far as the unbroken discipleship. So maybe I don't know if this is necessary. Maybe I'll switch it to this one. So when Jesus and the disciples, when they were reading scripture, when they were talking about, this was already the Septuagint. This was already in the Greek, right? And when the apostles started writing the letters, right, and when they started penning down the Gospels, it was in Koinonia Greek, right? The language of the everyday person in Greek, right? These letters to the people in the Greek speaking area, right? You've heard of the Greek Orthodox Church, right? Guess what? They still speak Greek. Greek is not a dead language. They were penning these letters in everyday common man Greek. The Greek are still here. The Orthodox Greek Orthodox Church is still here. Their letters didn't have to be interpreted or interpreted, right? Because they have always spoken the language. They still speak Greek, right? I'm bilingual, right? If somebody hands me some kind of flyer or magazine in Spanish, I don't need someone to translate it for me. I can do it just fine in Spanish, right? Same thing with the Greeks. If they were handing the letter, right? If Polycarp, the Bishop of Smyrna, sends the Philippians a letter teaching against the Gnostics, they can read it just fine, right? They can still read it just fine. Greeks still speak Greek, okay? Latin, now that's a different story, all right? Let's just put that out there. These are just my opinions. I'm not telling you that you must believe this. No. I'm just saying my point of view. Have I been wrong before? Of course. Could I be wrong? Of course. Right? Don't take this as gospel. But do the research yourself. Right? Don't be deceived. Right? Read the scriptures, study them for yourself, and thoroughly. There's some people out there that be like, oh no, you can't do that. Right? They try to scare you into learning the scriptures. Don't read the scriptures. Bologna sandwich. Right? If you ought to have a sandwich, not a bologna sandwich. Bologna sandwich, nah, no thank you. Right? That's just me. So, anyways, sorry to be rambling on, but I just, like I said, I wasn't able to catch the live stream. I thought it was a very, very interesting conversation. Man, I know I've said this before. TLC is such, so beautiful of a space. I'm so glad that I stumbled upon it, right? It has grown on me by leaps and bounds. Yes. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to repeat myself again. Here I go. Back in the day, rewind the clock a few years back, I was, hours and hours of, right, Joe Rogan. I know you all did the same thing, right? Jordan Peterson a lot, Lex Friedman, Chris Williamson, all those, right? Eric Weinstein, right? He was just barely on Rogan, so at least his name is fresh, because I no longer spend hours and hours listening to them. Not that, look, I used to dig, I still dig it. I just don't have the free time, so now I prioritize what I want to watch, and something, so now I'm just catching up on all the TLC, right? Friday Morning Nameless, Christian Baxter, his channel, right? Strange Theology, his channel. All the randos out there, there's some that have individual channels. I'm checking out your guys' stuff so I can get to know you, your point of views, because man, there's so many good ideas out there, gems. And I'm like, man, this has been sitting here all along. I can't believe that. So that's where my free time has been, prioritized, I guess. Yeah. So, anyways, if you stumble onto this channel, because it is fairly new, give it a like, share, if you dare. I don't know if you dare, but am I too old in saying that? I don't know. Leave a comment. I know it's new channels collecting dust. Hardly no comments. That's alright. That's okay. I'm saying if you want to do a solid, if you want to be, well, I guess. Did I go too far? Probably. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Anyways, Alex, the handle is de sol a sol. That's Spanish. The concept is, depends on how you translate that. It's like, you must list. Well, there's still daylight, right? We're working all the time. Let's stay focused. Let's keep at it while we still can, right? Well, there's still daylight, as emphasis on the light versus the darkness as a metaphor. A lot of metaphors, ideas, opinions. Yes, it's just an opinion. All right. Oh, well, I think I rambled on enough. If you caught this, thank you so much. If you really want to be bold, if you really want to be like dare to share it, if you think it's worth sharing, maybe I'm kidding myself. Maybe this is not worth your time, not worth sharing, not even a comment, or like that could be. Hey, that could be the reality. But what a nice day. But it's starting to get warm. I think I might need a little bit of shade. All right. Well, stay in the light, folks, while we still can, and beware of the Gnostics. Even the year 2024 in the AD, not BC, AD. Yeah, the Gnostics, they're still trying to say, hey, what about these Gnostic things? Why don't you study this? Why don't you take them as scripture? That's your opinion. Yes, that's your opinion. I say thank you, but no thank you. Right? If I'm gonna trust someone, I'm not gonna trust the Gnostics. Am I gonna trust Jesus? Yeah, I think he's worth trusting. Am I gonna trust the apostles, say like John? Yeah, I think he's trustworthy. Am I gonna trust the Bishop of Smyrna, Polycarp? Yeah, I'm gonna trust him. Am I gonna trust the Bishop Linus, Irenaeus? Yeah, I'm gonna trust him. By their fruit you will know them. Them folks, they all got martyred just because they did not, you know what I mean? They did not yield to the lie or to the deception, or, they were martyred because they wouldn't denounce Jesus and what it means to be a Christian, so there you go. Right? I'm not going to criticize them, and they have earned my trust. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Well, TLC, from this itty-bitty little corner collecting dust. Until next time. All right. If I catch you on a live stream, say hello. I sometimes forget, and I'm like, man, I should have said hello. But anyways, hi and bye. Hasta luego. I can't see, it's too bright.